Assalamualaikum and hi, my name is NURLYANA Ezlyn with Razak. My matrix is S74234. This video is us presenting our group data, which is COCO data, based on the question given. I will start first. The first question, which is to find the descriptive statistic for the opening price. As you can see on the slide, this is the data for our COCO data, the opening price data, and I already assorted it by ascending order. The first question, which is to find the mean, mode and median. What we need to do to find the mean is we need to do the total for the opening price data, and then we need to divide by the n, which is the sample size. The total, which is 218463, divide by the 20, which is the sample size, and we get 10474.9. Median, which is we need to assort by ascending order. In the middle of the data is the median. Since there is 2 in the middle, so we need to sum up them, and then we need to divide by 2. So we get 10393. The last is mode. From the data, we need to find the which is the number is repeated. So from my data, the repeated number is 11870. The next one, we need to find the 5 number summary for the opening price. So the first one, we need to find the minimum, first quartile, median, third quartile, and also the maximum number. The minimum number is 8833. Next is the first quartile, which is the median of the lower half of the data, which is the first 10 values. Since we have 20 sample size, so it is the first 10 value for the first quartile, and we get 9208.5. And then the median with the earlier number that we get, which is 10393. And then third quartile, which is the last 10 value from the data, we get 11795.5. Maximum number, which is the highest number from the data, is 12553. Lastly, we need to draw a box of Whisker plot for the opening price. For this question, we need to draw a box Whisker plot based on the value that we get earlier, which is the 5 number summary. We need to transfer the value, and then we plot them, and then draw a box of Whisker plot.
My name is NURUL binti BAHARIM. My matrix number is 76281. So in this slide, we are calculating a 98% confidence interval for the population mean using this formula. So step 1, we have to define the parameters. The sample mean is 10512.3. The standard deviation is 1265.5. And the sample size is 20. The confidence level is 98%, so the alpha is 0.01. The degree of freedom for the t distribution is n-1, so it will be 90. And for the step 2, we have to find the t value at a 98% confidence level, and the degree of freedom is 19. So the t value is 2.539. And this value is obtained from a t distribution. So next, we have to extract into the formula, and the final result we will get, for the lower bound we will get 9793.828, and for the upper bound we will get 11230.772. And for the conclusion, this means that we are 98% confidence that the true mean closing price of the population is between 9793.828 and 11230.772.
So moving on to the question number 3, we need to find the 95% confidence interval for variance and standard deviation for the opening price of the data and make a conclusion. Firstly, we need to find the variance of the 95% confidence interval using this formula. We already obtained the sample size, which is 20, and the mean, which is 10474.9 in question number 1. So to find the sample variance, we just use this formula. So just insert the value needed, and you will get the value for the sample variance. After that, we need to use the chi-square table to find the critical value for degree freedom of 90. Why 90? Because the degree of freedom is obtained by n-1. And then we know that the alpha is 0.95 in the question. So for alpha over 2, we will get 0.025. So just find in the chi-square table the critical value, one for lower tail and one for upper tail. And then we already have the value for the degree of freedom S2 and S2. So just substitute the value in the formula and you will get 884702.84 for lower tail and 326308.57 for upper tail. Next, for standard deviation, just square root the variance that we just get and we will get 940.59 for lower tail and 1806.4 for upper tail. Lastly, for the conclusion, we are 95% confident that the variance of our opening price of the data is between 884702.84 and 326308.57, and we are 95% confident that the standard deviation for the opening price of the data is between 940.89 and 1806.4.
Hi, my name is SITI HASANAH with the number matrix S74618. So for question 4, do the hypothesis testing to check whether the closing price has been changed at alpha 0.05. So to do the hypothesis testing, we need to do these 5 steps. First, we state our hypothesis. Next, we find the critical values. Then we compute the test statistic. After that, we make a decision to reject or not reject the null hypothesis. Finally, we conclude based on the results. So for this question, we state our hypothesis statement, which is H null says there's no change, but H1 says there is a change. This is what we are aiming to prove. So next, to find the critical values, our alpha is 0.05. This test is a two-tailed test and the degrees of freedom is 19. So from this, we can find it in the table given. So the critical values are negative 2.093 and positive 2.093. Next, to compute the test value, we use SAS to get the sample mean and the standard deviation. So the test value will be 5.83. Finally, we make the decision, which is to reject H null because the test value is in the critical region. So the conclusion will be there is enough evidence to support the claim that the closing price has been changed. Next, question 5, we need to use dependent sample technique. For this technique, we need to do these 5 steps, which is we state our hypothesis statement, then find the critical value. After that, we compute the test value, then make the decision, and lastly, we make the conclusion. So for this question, our hypothesis statement will be the null hypothesis says there's no difference, while the alternative hypothesis says there is a difference. So let's see what's the result show. So to find the critical values, we will be using the t-table, which alpha equals to 0.1. The test is two-tailed test and the degrees of freedom equals to 19. So that the critical values are negative 1.729 and positive 1.729. Next, to compute the test value, first we need to make a table like this and to find the means of the difference. Then we find the standard deviation of the difference. Then we can compute it into the formula to find the test value, which is negative 0.7. Lastly, the decision is failed to reject H null because the test value is not in the critical region. So our conclusion will be there is not enough evidence to support the claim that there is any difference between the opening and closing price of the cocoa data.